Too many books, too little time. Books and Bites has you covered. Get the key takeaways from the world's best books, fast, clear, and engaging. And today we're diving deep into Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. It's a story about a shepherd named Santiago who dreams of finding treasure at the Egyptian pyramids. But this book is so much more than just a treasure hunt. It's a journey of self-discovery, a quest for what Coelho calls your personal legend.
Yeah, it's fascinating how Coelho uses this simple story of shepherd to explore such universal themes. I mean, we all have dreams, aspirations, a sense of something we're meant to do in this world. That's the heart of the personal legend he's talking about.
It is such a powerful concept, isn't it? And early on, Santiago meets a mysterious king who introduces this idea and gives him 2 stones, Urim and Thummim, to help him read the omens on his journey. I love the way Coelho blends this sense of magic and destiny with the very real challenges Santiago faces.
Absolutely. It's like those challenges are part of the journey, testing Santiago's commitment to his personal legend. And he faces quite a few. Remember how he gets robbed almost immediately after deciding to follow his dream?
Right. You'd think that would be enough to make him turn back. But Santiago keeps going. He even ends up working for a crystal merchant for nearly a year, just to earn enough money to continue his journey.
You know, the crystal merchant story is really interesting. He has this dream of going to Mecca, but he never actually goes. He's too afraid to leave his comfort zone.
I wonder if he represents something we all struggle with, that fear of the unknown, the pull of comfort and security versus the risk of pursuing something more. What do you think?
I think you're spot on. The crystal merchant embodies that tension between playing it safe and taking a leap of faith. And through him, Coelho shows us the potential consequences of choosing the former. We might achieve a certain level of comfort, but we risk living a life of what-ifs, always wondering what could have been.
It makes you think about those moments in your own life when you've chosen the safe path, maybe out of fear or uncertainty. But then there's that nagging feeling of, what if I had taken the risk?
Exactly, and that's where the power of choice comes in. The crystal merchant chooses security, while Santiago chooses adventure. And that choice propels him forward on his journey, leading him to encounter all sorts of fascinating characters and experiences like the caravan across the Sahara Desert.
That caravan always felt so symbolic to me, like a microcosm of the world itself. You have all these different people from all walks of life traveling together towards a common destination, each with their own stories and motivations.
I love that observation. It highlights the diversity of human experience, and it underscores this idea that we're all on a journey, even if our paths look different. And it's in that caravan that Santiago meets the Englishman who's deeply engrossed in the world of alchemy.
That's right. Their conversations introduce the concept of the soul of the world, this idea that everything in the universe is interconnected and infused with a kind of universal energy. It's a pretty complex concept, but it seems central to Santiago's journey.
Absolutely. The soul of the world represents this underlying unity, a force that connects everything and everyone. And it's through understanding this concept that Santiago begins to grasp his place in the grand scheme of things, his role in the interconnected web of life.
So it's not just about finding treasure, it's about understanding your connection to something larger than yourself, finding your place in the universe.
Exactly. And as Santiago journeys deeper into the desert, he encounters another pivotal figure at an oasis, a woman named Fatima. He falls deeply in love with her, and for a moment, it seems like his journey might end there.
It's interesting how Fatima, despite the depth of their connection, encourages him to continue pursuing his personal legend. She doesn't try to hold him back or make him choose between her and his dream.
That's a crucial point. Fatima represents a love that supports growth, a love that understands the importance of pursuing one's purpose. It challenges the notion that love should be possessive or restrictive. Instead, she embodies a love that empowers both individuals to become their best selves.
So it's a love that recognizes the individual journeys, the individual paths, even as it celebrates the connection between 2 souls.
Precisely. And as Santiago continues on his journey, he encounters a figure who will become his guide and mentor, the alchemist himself. This is where things start to get really interesting.
The alchemist is like the wise sage, the keeper of ancient wisdom. He doesn't give Santiago all the answers, but he helps him discover them within himself.
The alchemist's teachings are all about listening to one's heart, overcoming fear, and trusting the journey. He emphasizes the importance of paying attention to the signs, the omens that the universe sends our way.
I remember that the alchemist also talks about the importance of overcoming fear, that fear is often the biggest obstacle to achieving our dreams. Makes you wonder what might be possible if we could silence that inner voice of doubt and just go for it.
It's a powerful message, isn't it? And it's not just about ignoring fear, but about understanding its role and choosing courage over paralysis. The alchemist emphasizes that growth and transformation often lie on the other side of our fears.
I love that. It's like a call to action, a reminder that we're all capable of more than we think if we can just face our fears and step outside our comfort zones.
Absolutely. And speaking of stepping outside one's comfort zone, Santiago finally reaches the pyramids, the destination he's been dreaming of for so long. But it's not the triumphant arrival he might have imagined.
This is where Coelho throws us a curveball, right? Santiago digs and digs, but he finds nothing. He even gets beaten up by robbers, which seems like a cruel twist of fate after everything he's been through.
It's a moment of utter despair for Santiago, but it's also a turning point in his journey. Remember, one of the robbers mentions a dream he had about treasure buried under a sycamore tree back in Spain where Santiago's journey began.
The treasure wasn't at the pyramids at all. It was back where he started. That's so unexpected. What do you think Coelho is trying to tell us with that choice?
I think it's a brilliant way of highlighting the true nature of the journey. The real treasure wasn't the gold at the end of the rainbow, but the experiences, the lessons, the personal transformation that Santiago underwent along the way. The actual treasure under the sycamore tree. That represents the rewards that come from following your personal legend, rewards that often manifest in unexpected ways.
So it's not about the destination, but the journey itself, the becoming that happens along the way.
Exactly. And it reminds us that sometimes what we're searching for is closer than we think. We just need the courage to embark on the journey and the wisdom to recognize the treasure when we find it.
That's a powerful insight, and it leads us to a question. What if your own personal legend is right under your nose all along? What would it take for you to recognize it?
That's a question worth pondering. And I think exploring the themes and symbols in The Alchemist can offer some clues. Let's delve deeper into that in the next part of our deep dive.
It's amazing to think that the real treasure in The Alchemist wasn't buried gold, but the journey itself. It kind of flips the whole idea of achieving a goal on its head.
Right. It challenges us to consider the value of the process, the growth, and the self-discovery that happen along the way. The Alchemist is filled with these moments where Coelho reveals deeper meaning through symbolism. I mean, take the concept of alchemy itself.
Yeah, it's not just about turning lead into gold.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
It's a metaphor for the process of personal transformation. It's about taking the raw materials of our lives, our experiences, our challenges, even our failures, and transforming them into something greater, something more valuable.
So it's like we're all alchemists in a way, capable of shaping and refining ourselves through our experiences.
Precisely. And that transformation often requires us to step outside of our comfort zones, just like Santiago did when he left his sheep and sailed to Africa.
It's true, he had to leave behind what was familiar and safe in order to discover his true potential. But that can be a scary thing for anyone.
Absolutely. It takes courage to embrace the unknown, to face our fears and step into the unfamiliar. And The Alchemist reminds us that the fear of suffering is often worse than the suffering itself.
It's like that feeling of regret, the what if, that lingers when we let fear hold us back from pursuing our dreams.
Exactly. And that's where the alchemist's teachings on fear become so relevant. He says that fear is the only thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve.
That's such a powerful statement because it highlights how paralyzing fear can be. We might have all these amazing dreams, but if we let fear dictate our choices, we'll never take that first step.
Yeah.
Reminds me of another quote. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Absolutely. So how do we move past that fear? Well, the alchemist suggests we need to listen to our hearts, pay attention to the omens, and trust our intuition.
It's interesting how Coelho weaves those elements of intuition and destiny into the story. It's not just about blindly following a dream, but about being open to the guidance and wisdom that's all around us.
Exactly. It's about trusting that inner voice, that sense of knowing that guides us towards our true path. But let's be, real life isn't always easy. Responsibilities, doubts, distractions, they can all make it hard to stay focused on our dreams.
It can feel like we're constantly battling those internal and external forces that pull us away from our purpose.
And I think the alchemist acknowledges those challenges. It's not about pretending that everything will be easy, but about finding that balance between our everyday lives and the pursuit of our personal legend. It's about recognizing those distractions and consciously choosing to realign ourselves with our dreams.
So it's not about waiting for some perfect moment or some external sign, but about taking small steps, even amidst the chaos of life, towards the things that light us up.
Yes, it's about making those small steps a part of our daily reality.
And speaking of finding that balance, I think Santiago's relationship with Fatima is a beautiful example of how love and personal growth can coexist.
Ah, Fatima. She's such a fascinating character. She embodies a love that supports and encourages personal growth. It's not possessive or dependent, but empowering.
She understands that loving someone means wanting them to be their best selves, even if that means they have to leave for a while to pursue their dreams.
Exactly. It's a reminder that true love doesn't hold us back. It sets us free.
It's beautiful how Coelho shows us that love can be a source of strength and support on the journey, not an obstacle to overcome.
It certainly can. And it's not just romantic love that Coelho explores. There's also this profound sense of life for the world, for the journey for life itself.
Right, that connection to the soul of the world we talked about earlier. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of everything and feeling a sense of belonging within that grand tapestry.
Yes. And that realization can be incredibly empowering. It invites us to approach life with a sense of awe and wonder, to appreciate the beauty and interconnectedness of everything around us. It makes you want to pay more attention to the details, the synchronicities, the omens.
Like the universe is speaking to us, guiding us if we just learn to listen.
Precisely. And that's where the idea of omens comes in. The alchemist suggests that the universe is constantly communicating with us through signs and symbols. It's up to us to be aware and receptive.
So it's about being open to the guidance that's all around us, trusting our intuition and having the courage to follow where it leads.
Exactly. And sometimes those signs might come in the most unexpected forms. A chance encounter, a book. We stumble upon a conversation that sparks a new idea.
And then there's that powerful word, maktub, that keeps appearing in the story. Could you remind me what it means again?
Maktub is an Arabic word that means it is written in the context of the alchemist. It represents the idea of fate or destiny.
But it's not about passively accepting whatever happens.
No, it's more about recognizing that there's a plan, a path that's meant for us, and trusting that the universe will guide us along that path.
So it's about actively engaging with the journey, being open to the possibilities and trusting that we're exactly where we're supposed to be.
Exactly. And that's a really empowering way to approach life. It doesn't mean we have no control, but it encourages us to surrender to the flow of life and trust that things are unfolding as they should.
It's a beautiful blend of personal agency and acceptance of striving for our dreams while also trusting in a larger plan.
Yes. And that brings us back to this idea of transformation. Remember, The Alchemist is, at its core, a story about the process of becoming. It's about the inner work we do to become the best versions of ourselves.
And that transformation is beautifully symbolized by the process of turning lead into gold. Right.
Exactly. Alchemy, in its essence, is about transformation. It's about taking something ordinary and turning it into something extraordinary.
So it's not just about Santiago finding literal gold, but about him transforming his fears, his doubts, his limitations into something greater.
Precisely. And that's the real magic of The Alchemist. It shows us that we all have that potential for transformation within us. We just need the courage to embark on the journey and the willingness to embrace the challenges that come along the way.
It's like we're all alchemists capable of creating something beautiful and meaningful out of the raw materials of our lives.
Beautifully put. And that's a really inspiring thought to carry with us as we continue on our own personal journeys.
Speaking of inspiration, I'd love to talk about some of those incredible quotes that just jump off the pages of The Alchemist. There are so many that resonate long after you finish the book.
Oh, absolutely. Coelho has this way with words. They're like little nuggets of wisdom that stick with you. What are some of your favorites?
I love that one.
Mm-hmm.
It's the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting. It reminds us that the anticipation, the hope, the journey towards our dreams is just as important as reaching the destination.
It's so true. And even if we don't achieve all our dreams, the fact that we dared to dream, to strive for something more, is what makes life meaningful.
I also love that quote about listening to our hearts. You will never be able to escape from your heart, so it's better to listen to what it has to say. It's like our hearts often know the way, even if our minds are filled with doubts.
It's a powerful reminder to trust our intuition and to let our hearts guide us. And speaking of overcoming fear, I think this one is essential. Tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself.
It's a reminder that we often create more suffering in our minds by avoiding things that might actually lead to growth and fulfillment.
And then there's that powerful quote about resilience. The secret of life, though, is to fall 7 times and to get up 8 times. It's a great message for anyone facing challenges or setbacks, a reminder to never give up, to always get back up and keep going, even when it feels impossible.
It's like that saying, It's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up.
Exactly. And let's not forget maktub. It encapsulates this idea of fate and destiny, that there's a path that's meant for us and that we're exactly where we're supposed to be.
It's comforting to think that even when things feel uncertain or chaotic, there's a bigger picture unfolding. We might not always understand it, but we can trust that we're being guided.
Absolutely. And that brings us to one of the most powerful messages of The Alchemist. There is only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve: the fear of failure.
It's a call to action, a reminder to choose courage over fear. But it also begs the question, how do we figure out what our personal legend actually is?
Well, Coelho offers some clues. He suggests paying attention to those things that have always fascinated us, those things that bring us joy and a sense of purpose, even from childhood. It might be something we've always been drawn to, but have ignored or dismissed for various reasons.
It's like our personal legend is often something that's already within us, waiting to be discovered.
Yeah.
We just need to be open to the signs and willing to do the work.
Exactly. And The Alchemist reminds us that the journey itself will provide clues and guidance.
It's all about being present, paying attention, and trusting that the universe will reveal the path.
And that brings us back to that provocative question. What if your personal legend is closer than you think?
It's a beautiful thought to consider. Maybe it's not something we need to search for, but something we simply need to recognize and embrace.
Precisely. And that realization can be a catalyst for incredible transformation and fulfillment.
Yeah, it really makes you think. What if that thing you've always dreamed of is closer than you think? Maybe it's not about some big dramatic change, but about seeing the beauty and potential in what's already around us.
That's the beauty of The Alchemist. It encourages us to look at our lives with fresh eyes, to see the possibilities that might be hidden in plain sight. And those little nuggets of wisdom, those quotes that Coelho sprinkles throughout the book, they're like signposts pointing us in the right direction.
They really are. And one that always sticks with me is when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. It's like this incredible promise that we're not alone on our journeys, that there's this force out there, this universal energy that supports us when we're aligned with our purpose.
It's a powerful idea, and it makes you wonder what we could accomplish if we could fully tap into that energy. If we could truly believe that the universe is on our side, cheering us on.
It's like that saying, leap and the net will appear. It takes a lot of faith to jump into the unknown. But The Alchemist suggests that when we're following our personal legend, that net will be there.
It's about trusting the process, trusting that we're being guided, even when we can't see the whole picture. And that brings us back to another one of those powerful quotes. It's the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting.
It's not just about the destination. It's about the journey, the anticipation, the excitement of pursuing something that matters to us.
Exactly. And even if we don't achieve everything we set out to do, the fact that we dared to dream, to strive for something more, that's what makes life meaningful.
It's like the journey itself is the reward. And speaking of journeys, The Alchemist doesn't shy away from the challenges, the setbacks, the moments when we might feel like giving up.
Right. Life isn't always easy. But there's that beautiful quote that reminds us, the secret of life, though, is to fall 7 times and to get up 8 times. It's about resilience. It's about never giving up on our dreams, even when we face obstacles.
It's about learning from our mistakes, dusting ourselves off, and getting back up stronger than before.
And that takes courage. The courage to face our fears, to step outside of our comfort zones, to remember that, quote, tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself.
It's a reminder that we often create more suffering in our minds by avoiding things that might actually lead to growth and fulfillment.
We build up these worst-case scenarios in our heads and let them paralyze us. But The Alchemist encourages us to push past that fear, to embrace the unknown, because that's often where the greatest adventures lie.
And that sense of adventure, that feeling of being on a quest, it's woven throughout The Alchemist. And then there's that word maktub. It's like a guiding principle, a reminder that there's a plan, a path unfolding.
Maktub. It means it is written. And in the context of The Alchemist, it suggests that there's a destiny, a fate that's guiding us.
But it's not about passively accepting whatever happens.
Right. It's more about recognizing that there's a bigger picture at play that we might not always understand and trusting that we're being led to where we need to be.
It's a beautiful blend of personal agency and surrender, of striving for our dreams, while also trusting that there's a greater force at work.
And The Alchemist reminds us that there is only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve: the fear of failure. So let's choose courage over fear. Let's listen to our hearts and let's keep pursuing our personal legends no matter what.
It's a powerful message. And I think that's what makes The Alchemist such a timeless and inspiring story. It speaks to that part of us that yearns for adventure, for meaning, for something greater than ourselves.
It reminds us that we all have a personal legend waiting to be discovered. And maybe it's not some grand, far-off goal, but something that's closer than we think.
So what if your personal legend is right under your nose? What if it's waiting for you to simply open your eyes and see it?
That's the question The Alchemist leaves us with. A question that invites us to embark on our own journey of self-discovery. To listen to our hearts, to pay attention to the signs, and to trust that the universe is conspiring to help us achieve our dreams.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into The Alchemist. We hope it's inspired you to look at your own life with fresh eyes, to embrace the journey, and to discover the magic that awaits you on the path to your personal legend.